You like that? Well, that's pretty authoritative there, isn't it?
Just tell me and I'll.
It's now
5:34.
5:33. I now call, what I'm going to do, I usually do the other authority meetings first, but I'm going to go ahead and get this deal out of the way. So we're going to go ahead and call the El Reno City Council to meeting, and we're going to hear one issue first, and then we'll go on to, we'll adjourn out of that, and then finish our business in Airport Buddy and golf course and come back in. So it's now 5:33. I now call the El Reno City Council regular meeting of Tuesday, April the 10th, 2018 to order. We'll start with a roll call vote with Councilwoman Ryder.
Here.
Here.
Councilman Ballhorn.
Here.
Vice Mayor Cronister. Mayor White.
Here. Okay, I'd like to move down to the agenda to item number 8. Is that correct? Roger, Lindsay? It's 8 and 9. Yeah. We're going to open a public hearing to consider a request submitted by Carla Boyce and June Painter to amend zoning classification to tract approximately 21 acres located on the west side of South Shepherd Avenue between East Watt Street and East Kavanaugh, and part of Southwest Quarter, Southeast 4th, Section 9, Township 12, North Range 7, Canadian County, in the combined residential R2 to mixed use, mixed business, MUB. I now consider this public hearing open. All right. Basically, who's the representative for the RV park?
I'm William Painter, sir.
Hi, William.
This is
How are
my
you?
wife, June Boyce Painter.
Nice to have you guys.
My wife's sister could not be here. She's still working.
I got you.
Okay, sir. You ready?
Well, I think so, but I'm just going to let you know, I think we've received, this is the same packet that was in the Planning Commission, is that correct? And we've all received this in our packets from our Planning Commission, from the Planning Commission.
Okay.
So I guess my question is there anything else that's new, that the information that we don't have?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
So I think we've all, Bob, Timmy, we already have all the information, is that correct? Tracy? Okay. Is there anything else you want to add or anything else to the process that hadn't been discussed at the Planning Commission?
If you have any further questions.
Well, we just, we're still addressing the MUB, and we'll see how that goes this evening. If not, then we're going to file for, which we already have, for just the R form.
Okay.
And then we will have a big change,
Okay.
some different things.
Okay. Well, is there any other questions for the council? Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you for your time. All right, we'll move on to the neighborhood. There's, I got a list of here. It's the same thing that was discussed at the Planning Commission. Same thing, same concerns that were discussed at the Planning Commission. I think we had several representatives from the neighborhood come up at the Planning Commission. They had several concerns. Those concerns were there was a petition of about 146 petitioners that have been signed. The neighborhood had several concerns. Those concerns were addressed and heard by the El Reno Planning Commission. The Planning Commission voted. They voted unanimously to turn it down at that point in time. So is there any other questions or any petitioners that are any different than what was stated at the meeting or anything else that was on the petition?
Mayor White, could you explain to everybody what R4 is?
Well, yes, I can, but it's one of those things, it'll be another hearing that apparently I didn't know they're going to apply for, so I guess that'd be apartments, is that correct?
R4 is a,
Multifamily?
it is a multifamily district, but it is for, to allow mobile home and RV parks as well.
Right.
It is, the major difference between it and the mixed-use business is, that they couldn't have other commercial uses.
Sure. It's just a process. So, and the bottom line is we understand. Okay. Any other questions on this? We're dealing, and that's a good question, Elaine, but we're dealing with the current situation that we're at right now with the zoning. Okay. Any other questions that's changed from what we did? All right. Any other questions? All right. Consider this public hearing closed. Discussion, consideration, possible action on ordinance number 9140, amending the zoning clarification tract approximately 21 acres located to the west side of Shepherd, East Watts, East Kavanaugh, part of Southwest Quarter 4, Section 9, Township 12, North Range 7, Canadian County from combined residential R2 to mixed-use business MUB and declaring an emergency. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion we deny.
I have a motion to deny. Do I have a second? Second. Roll call start with Ryder.
Yes.
Councilman Robinson?
Yes on the motion to deny.
Councilman Robinson?
Yes, deny.
Councilman Ballhorn?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cronster? Mayor White?
Abstain. Okay, motion fails. All right, we'll move on to number 9. To conduct a public hearing, consider request submitted by Carla Boyce and June Painter of conditional use permit CUB to allow RV park within the mixed-use business MUB district and tract approximately 21 acres located on the west side of Shepherd between East Watts and Cavanagh, part of Southwest Quarter, Southwest Forest, Section 9, Township 12, North Range 7 in Canadian County. I now consider this public hearing open. Public hearing's open. I wanted to make sure you're informed that the first action did not pass, so there's no sense in any kind of protest or anything else. Any other questions?
No, sir.
Any other comments from the audience? Now consider this public hearing closed. Move on to discussion and consideration of possible action requests submitted by Carla Boyce and June Painter, conditional use permit to allow RV park within the mixed-use business district in a tract of approximately 21 acres located on the west side of Shepherd between East Watts, East Cavanagh, and Southwest Quarter, Section 9, Township 12, North Range 7 in Canadian County. Do I have a motion to deny?
Make a motion to deny.
I got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote start with Councilwoman Ryder.
Yes.
Councilman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cronster? Mayor White?
Abstain. Motion is denied. Any other questions? Okay, thank you all. That's why we did that.
Keep those, sir.
Sure, yeah, thank you. Thank you all. Thank you.
You bet.
Thanks, Danny. Danny, don't worry about it.
Are you? Okay. Because it looks very nice. Okay. Thank you. Okay, but you'll have enough.
Wait and see what they're going to do. That's the first I heard of what they're going to do. And let me tell you, I think you need to go ahead and do what you need to do, but I'm going to tell you, no one believes that's the right spot for that. So, don't, I mean, I'm not saying not worry about it, but the whole council's going to stand on it. Make sure you pass that on. I think everybody here wants to know that. See you. Thank you.
Now you're gonna go back to rec authority and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, take a deep breath.
No, I'm doing good, though.
No, that was great.
Oh, well,
It's the way to handle it. How'd you like that, sis?
That was quick.
Kind of a flash mob.
Huh?
In and out.
It's now 5:41. I call the El Reno Air Park Authority regular meeting Tuesday, April the 10th. Roll call start with Trustee Ryder.
Here.
Trustee Robinson.
Chairman Robinson?
Oh, well, that's why you got me. Then why did I start that deal? Go ahead, Timmy.
It is now. 5:43. Authority meeting to order. Roll call for Councilwoman Ryder.
Here. Again.
Trustee White?
I'm here.
Vice Chairman Ballhorn?
yes.
Trustee Cronster? Chairman Robinson?
Here. Move on to consent agenda. The following items are to be considered routine by the El Reno Park Authority and will be enacted with one motion. Should the discussion be desired on any item, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Number 1, approval of the minutes of the March 13, 2018 regular meeting of the El Reno Air Park Authority. And number 2, approval of resolution number 18-023, a resolution authorizing persons to transact financial business signatures for the El Reno Air Park Authority. And 3, approval of the claims requiring trustees authorization for the period beginning March 1st, 2018, ending March 31st, 2018. Have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Starting with Mr. Ballhorn.
Yes.
Trustee Cronster? Trustee White?
Yes.
Trustee Ryder?
Yes.
Chairman Robinson?
Yes. Move on to D, which is discussion items. Number 4 is discussion, consideration, possible action to award a bid for the I-24 airport hangar roof number 2 roof. Mike, can you fill us in on that?
Yeah, basically, we're Sandage yet, and Dan, I guess, with Sandage. We went out to bid to basically do some roof repair. Buddy, we've been wanting to do it for forever, since the beginning time, and we got some oil money, so we're gonna do some repairs. Is that right? Yes, sir. Okay. We went out and put some specs out, and it went out to bid, and we received bids last week. Is that correct?
That's right.
And can you read the bids off to us?
We got 3 bids, one from Cantrell Exterior Finishes for $153,995.54, one from Ground Zero Roofing and Construction for $147,992, and from Nurnberg Roofing Company for $249,606. The low bid, Ground Zero Roofing and Construction, checked references, checked materials, checked qualifications, and we recommend Ground Zero Roofing and Construction.
That's basically what it is.
Have a motion?
I make a
Second.
motion. Yeah, I make a motion we approve.
Second.
A motion, a second. Start with Councilwoman Ryder.
Yes.
And that's a motion to award the bid
I'm
to,
sorry, let me do that. I'm sorry, I wrote it down. I make a motion that we award the bid for $147,982 to low bid Ground Zero.
I still got a.
I still second
Still
it.
got a motion second. Now we can start with Councilwoman Ryder.
Yes.
Trustee White?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Ballhorn?
Yes.
Trustee Cronister? Chairman Robinson?
Yes. Motion carries. Item number 5 is discussion, consideration, possible action to award an agreement for the services to H.W. Lochner, Inc. to design and manage the bidding process for the construction of 2 hangars. Mayor, would you mind?
Yeah, basically what this is a contract by our design group, which is Lochner. Buddy and I, we've worked with them for several years. They've been our engineer. They're the ones currently doing the project right now, Bob, with the fueling system that we've done. Right, Dan?
That and our airport master plan.
And our airport master plan, thank you, Dan, I forgot about that. And so they're completing that, and basically what this is we're going to start construction of some T hangars, is what we decided to do, and then a hangar that we're gonna use for maintenance for right now, to store our tractors, and get it out of the hangars that we're using, and then it'll also be fitted up with the door that will, after we get done that, we'll be able to store airplanes in. So we're gonna use it, build it for an airplane hangar.
The hangars are currently full right now.
They are full, we are, Timmy, and, you and I have gone over that was your concern, and, I know that you wanted to make sure that we went forward with, getting some of that money spent with capital, that we could go ahead and go forward and start taking care of the need for airplane space that we are currently full and have been full almost a year and a half. So we're gonna start construction on that and get going, and we're excited about it, and I think the airport board recommended to go ahead and go forward, so I would make a recommendation, make a motion that we enter into the contract to with Lochner to go ahead and design the hangars and everything else. And I will tell you, those are restricted funds, is that correct, Dan? They are restricted to the airport only, so we can't buy police cars or anything else with them, like pointing that out.
So I have a motion.
I have a motion that we approve.
Yeah, to agree.
Yep.
Have a second?
Second.
Motion second. Roll call starting with Mr. Ballhorn.
Here. Yes.
Trustee Cronister? Trustee White?
Yes.
Trustee Ryder?
Yes.
Chairman Robinson?
Yes. Motion carries. Item E is adjournment.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
All right.
Bob, are you recreational?
Yep.
We're adjourned.
It's 5:47. I call the El Reno Recreational Authority regular meeting Tuesday, April 10th. To start with roll call. Ryder?
Here.
Trustee Robinson?
Yes.
Trustee White?
Yes.
Trustee Cronister? Chairman Ballhorn?
Yes. C, consent agenda. The following items are considered to be routine by the El Reno Recreational Authority and will be enacted with one motion. Should discussion be considered on any item, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Item number 1, approval of minutes of the March 13th, 2018 regular meeting of the El Reno Recreational Authority. Number 2, approval of resolution number 18-024, a resolution authorizing persons to transact financial business signatures for the El Reno Recreational Authority.
Make a motion we approve.
Vice Chairman Ryder?
Yes.
Trustee Robinson?
Yes.
Trustee White?
Yeah.
Trustee Cronister? Chairman Ballhorn?
Yes. D, discussion items. Discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve and award lease of the bar space located at the golf course facility to most responsive proposal and authorize city manager to negotiate terms and with the city attorney approval as to legal form signed lease agreement.
Mr. Ballhorn, I think Mr. Sandage, we did receive some bids, is that correct? We received one bid, I guess, is that right? Heath, and can you come up here, Matt, and tell us about the bid?
So the basics of the proposal are to provide bar service to the Hook and Slice Silo Bar area. They propose to pay $300 per month lease and then 10% utilities. And there's in your packet, there is a menu of what they'll provide, some food and drinks, and those details are included in your packet.
And basically, I think the only concern, Mr. Galloway, is that we already have a current lease with Senor to do the restaurant now.
What I would ask, if you want to entertain or accept this proposal, I'd like a companion action regarding these. I do have written confirmation from the current leaseholder, Senor, that they will release this square footage from the lease. And we will, I'd like to have authorization to sign a lease amendment. It will reduce their lease amount by an equal amount to the new proposal, so the city will have no net loss. Their payment plus the new proposal will still be receiving the same financial terms in total.
That was our main concern, is we wanted to make sure it was a wash on both sides and we didn't interfere with either one of the contracts.
And this includes the silo area and the covered patio.
Now, that does not, Heath, Hunter, you guys know that it doesn't include the restaurant. But you did provide a little menu that you're going to provide, and you're going to do that within the square footage that's provided.
Yeah, it's just gonna be more of a carry-on.
Sure. And we saw just kind of sandwiches, some I want to say bar food, because you're applying for a bar, but it's basically what it is, snack food. And then what we did talk about, I think the only modifications that we talked about making, gentlemen, was basically having a door. We need to kind of lock that off for you guys, because you'll have liquor and, you'll have something you'll need to secure at night. Is that correct, Mr. Sandage?
That's right.
And I think you were concerned with that too, Mr. Galloway, is that correct? Then you guys are all okay with that one? Now, you all have to go through the process of getting your permits through the state of Oklahoma, the Able Commission, and everything else. You're starting that now,
It'll be in there first thing in the morning. We did a lot of it online. We're just waiting for it.
waiting for our approval, and then you go ahead and post the notification, everything else. And all that notification, it'll take, what, 60 days in order to go ahead?
Stay up to 60. You're getting bombarded with the new law coming in October.
Sure.
I talked to the guy. He said the more I come up there, the faster it goes.
Gotcha. So we need to go ahead and make the motion tonight. Okay? So any other questions, Mr. Galloway? You have any other concerns?
No, I think it's a good proposal, and I think the net result.
I do
Now,
too.
are they won't be taking care of the beer cart for the golf course then?
They will not. That's not.
So
That is still about the city.
That element that I did go to the new beer
Record.
meetings and stuff, and if the city's not able to, because of the way that they worded it,
I don't think they're going to.
I don't think the city will be able to, then we
No.
will take it over.
Okay, that's why I was asking. The new laws, everybody that serves 6 Point or anything has to be licensed. And so it's really a stickler right now. I don't know, they're talking about not even be able to serve beer through a window. You gotta walk in the store. So it's gonna be a big change.
Sure.
So
And we realize
if-
that, but we do want to retain that if we
Right,
can.
right now, and that's
And
fine.
as we can, and we have talked to some of our council as far as OMA. We didn't know how it was going to affect us.
Right.
to be honest with you, I don't think they really know exactly how it's going to affect.
No.
And they'll tell you that at
Sure.
the meetings, because I think they're going through the process right now. Jacqueline Stevenson, who has tutors, they have it deal just like you just said.
Yep.
They're having a hard time with her being able to just sell beer out, walking out to the car. So they're not going to put all these people out of business. Saying that, I think that we have to be in the loop, but it is not our intentions, nor we
Right,
want
right.
to.
Well, I
We
just
want-
wanted to
and
make
you
sure-
did not bid, I know, but that's a good point, but I want to make sure everybody's clear, because that's a great point you made. It's not your intentions, you did not bid the beer carts. You did not
Right.
have any financial backgrounds based on that or anything else. We absolutely want to keep the beer cart and the service that we're selling, because that way we can control our customers that we have, and we've always done that. Now, if something does change, then we'll absolutely have to cross that bridge when we get there. But as it stands right now, they did not. That's a good point, but I want to
Yep.
make sure we're all clear.
Who's the utilities on right now?
Right now, the utilities are on, Signor pays a certain.
Signor will continue to pay the utilities?
We receive all the bills for the utilities for the building, and then we prorate them, we'll send you a copy of the total bill and your share of the percentage. We do the same thing with Signor, they pay the utilities for their share of the operation, and we pay our share for the Gulf Post Office.
So that won't be covered by the city.
Well, no.
And the city's on the account, isn't that right? So
So
for
we're on the account,
consistency,
so you don't have to
no matter
worry
who's
about
there.
it.
So
We'll take care of
if
it.
Hunter and Heath don't pay the bill, they're not gonna shut the power off, because it's underneath them. Now, we're gonna kick their butts out, but we're
Right.
not gonna, we're not gonna do that, okay? That's a good question, Timmy.
Okay.
But basically, it's easier for you guys too, Heath. That way, we pay utility, it's all set, we have control of it. It's our facility.
What was the lease amount?
$300 per month plus a certain percentage of the utilities, which will be 100% utilities if you add them and Signor together.
Are they going to do business under an LLC or just individually?
Well, I think that's a good question.
Or do you plan to form a limited liability company or something like that, or? Okay.
But
so
when you
we'll-
apply for the liquor license, you have to do it individually, as the current laws stand right now.
Right.
So, yeah,
It'll be done. Well,
sure.
We could prepare the contract in their names with the ability to be assigned to an entity that they form.
And then basically what that'll do, that'll give me at this point in time, Dan, the ability to sign the contract. Is that
Right.
correct? And I'll be able to sign that as we go through the process.
the name will be approved tomorrow. I mean, I don't think anybody has their name, but
I think it's one of those things, what they're gonna give us approval to now is for you to go ahead, if they give the approval, to go ahead and enter an agreement to us. If everything works out from Roger, the legal side to cover us, then we'll sign the documents. If there's a problem, we won't sign the documents. We don't foresee that, but that's how it works.
Now, in the case of a band or any of that, will they be under the same quiet time as the RV park across the way?
Where's Ken Brown at? Well,
You went to watch over
I want
on
to
the other
answer
side.
Paul. Basically, the question was, and I want to answer, but I want you to answer, or Ken does if he gets there in time. The question was basically if the noise ordinance, if there's a band playing out there, will they fall under time frames? Basically, we have a decibel all over the city that blankets everybody unless there is a special permit issued. Is that correct? I believe that's correct. And then if that special permit's issued, then they'll go through that, through the police department and through the special processing you do.
We periodically, we have some of the local establishments, when they do have a band, they simply come to the city clerk's office, fill out a form for a special permit, we review it. But it does require that, you do have to have it.
Is that right, Ken? But other than that, that goes over the decibels and everything else. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Ken, for being late. Okay. Any other questions? Nancy, you had a question. Nancy, you had a question.
Yes.
State your name, please.
Nancy Wise. So that part of the restaurant will now be public?
Well,
It will be for public use?
it's all for public use. It has been, yeah. But basically, they have not got the company that they are making sandwiches out there. Their main contracts with the Band Camp people, but they have been. Bob and I went out there and ate, and it was good. I mean, no one goes out there. It's great. It's the best salad bar there ever is.
I'm sure everybody knows they can't.
Well, we've told everybody that. But anyway, but the bottom line is they did not have the silo. They did not have the bar where you can go out there and get a beer. They didn't have the beer license, and they didn't have the wine license or the alcohol license. So what we decided is we asked them, because the golfers and some other people out there, some people live around there, they wanted to provide that, so we put it out for RFP, request for proposals, and these two gentlemen put a request back, or put a proposal together, and honored our request, and they basically are going to do beer and wine and alcohol. Is that correct, gentlemen? And small food out of that little silo area. So that'll be the only area they have. So that'll cover both deals, and it'll cover all the bills.
So then after somebody finishes the run, they can go in, wait on the buddies whenever they get.
And I think the main time frame, what we did was we set out days, basically Wednesdays, is that correct? Through Sunday. And I think Sunday's kind of a little iffy as far as we didn't really restrict them to that. That's whoever's out there. We did that based on tournament play and some other things they have going on, so they don't have to be out there. Okay. Any other questions? All right.
Do I have a motion?
I was going to say, I thought I was running the meeting. I got a motion to approve. Well, no, I better not do that. You all go ahead. I'll abstain on this one because I'm going to sign the contract.
I'll make a motion to approve.
And give the authority for the city manager to sign?
Yes.
Which would be me.
To award it to these two gentlemen or entity that they form? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Just that ought to be in the record.
Do I have a second?
There's a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
I didn't get a second yet.
Oh,
I got a motion from Timmy. I need a second.
Oh, that falls to me. Second.
Roll call starts with Ryder.
Sure goes a lot better when I run it, but I'm just talking.
Ryder?
Yes.
Trustee Robinson?
Yes.
Trustee White?
Abstain.
Trustee Cronister? Chairman Ballhorn?
Yes. Reports?
Yeah. I'm ready to cover any more.
Motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second?
Yes.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Get to going, Mayor.
Okay, my turn?
Yeah.
All right. It's now 6 o'clock. I now call the El Reno Hospital Authority regular meeting, Tuesday, April the 10th, to order. We'll start with roll call vote. Trustee Ryder.
Here?
Trustee Robinson?
Yeah.
Trustee Ballhorn?
Yep.
Vice Chairman Cronister? Chairman White?
Yes. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Consent agenda is considered to be routine by the El Reno City Council or City Hospital Authority and be enacted with one motion. Should discussion be desired on that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Number one, approval of minutes of the March 13th, 2018 regular meeting of the El Reno Hospital Authority. Number two, approval of resolution 18-025, resolution authorizing persons to transact financial business signatures for the City of El Reno Hospital Authority. Number three, approval of claims requiring trustee authorization for the period beginning March 1st, 2018 and ending March 31st, 2018.
Motion approved.
I have a motion of approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Roll call. Start with the Ballhorn.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Cronister? Trustee Robinson?
Yes.
Trustee Ryder?
Yes.
Chairman White?
Yes, we'll go on to discussion. Discussion, consideration, possible action to approve award construction management contract for the new Mercy Hospital, authorize the mayor and acting city manager to sign or negotiate terms with the city attorney, approval as a legal form. Dan, will you explain?
We've interviewed several construction companies, committee. The winning company was Flintco Construction, the most qualified. After that, then I entered negotiations with them. They've submitted 2 standard AIA forms. With this action would employ a contract with Flintco Construction to be our pre-construction design consultant. They would work with Mercy, with the city, with Reese Architect, and develop the guaranteed cost of building the hospital. At that point, then they would be our construction manager to complete the construction of the hospital. Their proposal is for the pre-construction services, which is a 4-month time frame. Their cost was $33,000 plus $2,000 of operating expenses. It would be a $35,000 contract for pre-construction. We would do a construction manager at risk for the actual building of the hospital, which means this contractor when they once have worked with the architect and with Mercy and the city, they would give us a guaranteed maximum construction price for the hospital. And at that point, we enter that contract, their fee for that construction project would be 4%. Typically, construction contracts are 7, 8% or more. So I think it's a very fair proposal. The onus becomes theirs if we enter that contract. If they guarantee it at $15 million, if it costs $15.2, they pay the $2. On the other hand, if they bring it in less than the guarantee, then we share in the savings with them as a benefit. I think it's an excellent contract proposal. Flintco has an excellent reputation all over the state. Well, they're all countrywide, but in Oklahoma they have presidents doing work for both universities, several major municipalities, hospitals, and particularly healthcare facilities. So we were excited to get a good proposal from them. And we recommend that you authorize the mayor and acting city manager to execute the contract contingent upon the city attorney's review of the contract. I'm going to talk to Kirk Mammon, the principal of Flintco, on Thursday and review the contract with him. Roger and I reviewed it and looked at it. It's a standard AIA contract that everybody uses, but we're going to try to tweak a few little things to give the city a little more beneficial position, which we normally do. And with the conclusion of that negotiation, I would recommend you authorize the mayor/acting city manager to sign the contract with Flintco.
We've gone through the process, and I do want to add one more thing. We went through the process of having basically, I think, 8 contractors, I think, at one point in time. We narrowed them down. We had, our firm that you all hired, that we presented to you, Reese and Associates. They're the hospital gurus of all design. So they basically helped us with the process along with Mercy. And what we've done is it was down to 3, so it was down between Flintco, Manhattan, and J.E. Dunn. Bolt, and they all
4 were very highly qualified, so it was very, very close competition.
and all 4 of one of the projects. It's one of the best projects in the state. It's very high visibility, brand new hospital in Reno, Oklahoma, right there on I-40. So it's pretty
I make a
nice.
motion we authorize the mayor and the city manager to negotiate with the city attorney to approve this.
Got a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
I got a motion second. Roll call. Let's start with trustee Ryder.
Yes.
Trustee Robinson?
Yes.
Trustee Ballhorn?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Cronster? Chairman White?
Abstain. All right. Motion for adjournment.
Yes.
I got
Second.
a motion. I got a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ashley, we're almost there. Okay. All these public hearings. God dog, I got busy. I couldn't send it back. I was going to tell you,
I heard you.
don't be in a big hurry.
What? Yeah, a lot going on.
It's now 6:06. I now call our municipal authority regular meeting Tuesday, April the 10th. To order, roll call start with trustee Ballhorn.
Here.
Trustee Robinson?
Here.
Trustee Ryder?
Here.
Vice Chairman Cronster? Chairman White?
Yes. Move on to consent agenda. The following items be considered routine by the El Reno City Council, or I'm sorry, El Reno El Reno Municipal Authority. I mean, act with one motion. Should discussion be desired on that item, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Number 1, approval of minutes, March 13, 2018, regular meeting of El Reno Municipal Authority. Number 2, approval of resolution 18-26, resolution authorizing purchase, transact financial business, signature for the El Reno Municipal Authority. Number 3, approval of budget amendments for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2018. Transfer funds, sales tax, order sent to Radio Road appropriation funds to cover water, sanitary sewer improvements. Radio Road amendment to record increase in bulk water tax to be used to cover salary shortage, administration, purchase of A1 pump lift station repair, Oklahoma City, and Oklahoma City water purchases above the original budget. Amend to reflect correct balance of OWRB, Clean Water Act, SR fund budget. And then number 4, approval of claims requiring trustees authorization for the period beginning March 1st, 2018, ending March 31st, 2018. Do I have a motion for approval?
Motion approved.
You've got a motion approved. Do I got a second?
Second.
Roll call, let's start with Ryder.
Yes.
Trustee Robinson?
Yes.
Trustee Ballhorn?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Cronster? Chairman White?
Yes. All right, we'll move on to number 5. To conduct a public hearing on a solid waste collection contract renewal. God, no one's here now, I bet, so. I now can consider a public hearing open to discuss the contract, the solid waste collection contract renewal with OMA. Dan?
Yeah, basically, the mayor and I have met several times with OMA representative David Greason, board members, it's asked to do by the council, and we tried to look at some ways that they could modify our agreement, save us some money, and give us a broader range of services. As a result of all that, and several months of discussion, they submitted a proposal which would reduce what they charge the city per customer by $1.30. Very rarely do we have a reduction in proposed utility rates. They have also added some options which I'll briefly discuss on introducing recycling as an option to residents of Reno, and also some 2 annual cleanup at no cost to the citizens in the spring and fall. 4 locations in the community with roll-offs where you can take your spring and fall cleanup trash and dispose of it at no additional cost. The proposal is, one of the premises, the basic for this proposal, the reason for the cost reduction is that all trash, residential trash collection would be curbside pickup in the front of the house or the side of the house if you're on a corner. But it would require you to put your plastic polycart at the curb the night before your pickup day. It'd be the same day that you had. The only difference is we would do away with collection in the alley. The reason that there is such a significant cost savings is the trucks that pick up on the curb, they can begin to purchase the new trucks that are automatic and are operated with one driver. There's a robotic arm on the truck. It's much safer. It picks up the can, dumps it in the truck. Currently, we have a driver and 2 men behind the truck. Working behind the trash truck is probably the most dangerous job in municipalities. That's one of the reasons we've gone away from it, but it's much more efficient than the truck. So that's basically the proposal. The proposal could save that $1.30 per month per customer reduction would mean about $500,000 could be saved over the next 7 years. This would be a 7-year agreement. So this could save the city overall as much as $80,000, $90,000 a year for a period of 7 years. When I provide to the council a little later to show you some options, with a $1.30 savings, I'm recommending to the council that the city doesn't keep all of that savings, that we pass at least 85 to 90 cents, maybe $1 of that savings on to all of our customers by saying July 1, we're going to reduce your trash bill by $1. That's not very often. You usually go the other way with your things. But the other thing they offered is some opportunity to recycle. Recycling is very, very expensive. I know a lot of people like to do it, but it's very costly because it takes so much special equipment, special labor. But they have given us 2 options. If we wanted to accept a contract where everybody in town had to pay for it, it would be $6.50 a month added on top of what we have. The other option would be a volunteer program where you don't have to pay for recycling. But those households who really want to, they could pay $8.50 a month and they would do that. The key is it takes at least 300 homes before they can do that. If the council wanted to pass that 90 to $1 savings along to the customer's bill, we would still have a little bit left over, and I would recommend that the council use that money to pay OEMA for 300 households for a year. And the first 300 households who signed up to participate in the pilot program for recycling would get it free for 1 year. That gets our community an opportunity for at least 300 homes to get involved in free recycling and see if it works well, and in the future we can make more decisions on recycling. So that's kind of in a nutshell what has been proposed. And, because of safety factor of employees, cost of those accidents, the cost of operation, if we switch to curbside pickup, we can save the public a lot of money out of their pocket. We can save the city some money and offer more services. And so I think it's a good proposal. Both Mayor White and myself have had several discussions with 3 or 4 of the major commercial trash companies about possible bidding here, and they can't really compete with this kind of proposal, and most of them have chosen not to submit a proposal to us. One of the key things at OEMA, by owning the Canadian County landfill, they have full operation under the public trust. OEMA is a public trust, not for profit. And as a member of that trust, we share in that efficiency. So I believe this is a pretty good proposal. It does take some changes on about 25% of the people in the community still have alley pickup. But if they can make the change to do what the other 75% is doing, we can all save. And I don't like to be the sheer facts of it, money-wise. If we don't do that, we're asking 3/4 of the people to pay extra, so 25% of the people can get the same thing they've always had. When I'm looking at the city as a whole, change is always tough. It's tough to make changes, but I think in this case, it's something that the entire community can benefit, OEMA can benefit, and I do think that the safety of the workers behind trash trucks is often overlooked. I've been in this business too long. When I got into this business 40 years ago, the #1 killer of city employees in the United States was guys who worked behind trash trucks. And today, with the new modern trucks where they're working one man in the driver's cab is one of the safest jobs in cities in the United States. And it reflects in your insurance costs tremendously. If I go to the one-man truck insurance, workers' comp costs drop. It's partially why they can offer a lower rate as well. So that's, if you have any questions, that's kind of where we are.
All right, anybody, any other comments from the public? Any questions from the public? All right. We'll go to B, and I consider the public hearing closed. Now we're going to B. Discussion and consideration of possible action regarding solid waste collection and contract renewal to authorize the chairman to sign all documents associated thereto.
I would make a recommendation, if I may, that the council accept the terms presented by OEMA in the contract as recommended, and that we provide an 84 cents per month reduction to the trash bills for everybody in El Reno, and we use the other 15 cents of savings to provide 1 year's free recycling for the first 300 households that want to participate.
Did you say 85 cents?
Do I have a motion?
I mean, he said 84, but it's 85. Then he had confirmed 85, yeah. I make a motion.
Do you approve?
I approve.
Okay, make sure, make the motion for that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Roll call vote, start with Ryder.
Yes.
Trustee Robinson.
Yes.
Trustee Ballhorn.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Cronister. Chairman White.
Staying. Motion carries. 6, discussion to everybody's possible action to approve an interlocal management agreement for use of landfill between Oklahoma Environmental Management Authority and the El Reno Municipal Authority. Basically, this is part of the contract, Dan, that goes into us having an agreement to use the landfill. Is that correct?
We have 2 different contracts. The contract for your residential we just talked about, that includes the disposal. But we also have an agreement to support the landfill. Any trash that's generated inside of our community has to go to that landfill. for example, if we do a demolition of a house, it has to be landfill. We previously paid over $16 a ton. They've submitted, they've changed the structure, and they've offered this for $15.50 a ton. They've reduced that for all of their members of the county. So I would recommend that we enter that agreement. It's a separate agreement, but they both relate
To each other.
the trash.
Have a motion for approval? I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second, roll call vote, start with Ryder.
Yes.
Trustee Robinson?
Yes.
Trustee Ballhorn?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Cronster? Chairman White?
Yes. Abstain. Sorry. Gotta be careful there. All right, number 7, discussion area possible action to accept the completed project removal of sludge, North Lagoon, old wastewater treatment dump known as project number 017. Water refuse project, approved final payment amount of $26,310 to Tonto Environmental LLC. And approve and activate the maintenance bond. This is basically what we did out there at the landfill, so they're done with their project, looks good. Yeah, looks great, we're getting ready to sell some water. We got a motion for approval?
Yes.
We got a second?
Second.
The roll call start with Ballhorn.
Yes.
Trustee Robinson?
Yes.
Trustee Ryder? Yes. Vice Chairman Cronster? Chairman White?
Yes. Motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. All right, now, almost through it, guys. It's now 6:19. I now call the Reno City Council regular meeting of Tuesday, April the 10th, 2018 to order. Is there anybody here from the Ministerial Alliance? Roger, would you mind leading us in a word of prayer? Would you all please stand?
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the privilege to gather to be about the business of this community. We thank you for these men and women who volunteered their time and their talents to make decisions that will affect not only this generation, but generations into the future. Please guide us and protect us as a community, as a state, and as a country. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Join me in flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you all. It's been a long day, and I appreciate you all. All right, here we go. Roll call. Councilwoman Ryder.
Here.
Councilman Robinson?
Here.
Trustee Ballhorn?
Here. Here.
Sorry. Vice Chair Cronster? Mayor White?
Here. We'll go on to new business deletions, continues agenda time. Is there any? Not, we'll move on to consent agenda. Consent agenda is 5 items to be considered routine by the Reno City Council. We have one motion. Should that motion discussion be on that item, that item will be removed from consent agenda and considered separately. The city manager recommends that we approve one motion. Approval of minutes of the March 13, 2018 regular meeting of Reno City Council. 2, approval of resolution 18-27, a resolution adopting supplement number 8 of the 2014 code, City of El Reno, Oklahoma, dates 3/01/2018. Number 3, to acknowledge funding for the El Reno Carnegie Library from CCEFA in the amount of $18,190.38. Acknowledge a donation to the El Reno Animal Shelter from the City National Bank in the amount of $296. Number 5, approval of resolution number 18-27, resolution authorizing persons to transact financial business signatures for the City of El Reno. Number 6, approval of budget amendments for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2018. Appropriate funds for the care and share donation received and fire department donation received, and increase expenses for care and share for fire department budget increase from unappropriated fund balance for the Hub Reed complex, which Timmy is that softball complex. Right. Renovation to complete project and will later be reimbursed from the grant. Number 7, approval of claims requiring council authorization for the period beginning March 1st, 2018 and ending March 31st, 2018. Would anybody like to pull any of these items off, 1 through 7? If not, do I have a motion to approve for 1 through 7?
I had a question for the clerk. We have 2 resolutions on there with the same number. Is one of those typos?
One is the typo.
Okay, which one is it?
It is, the 2014 code is 18-028.
28?
02.
Yeah.
That's number 2?
Yeah.
Number 2.
All right, item number 2 with a correction. It reads 18-7. We're going to correct that to 18-8. No, I appreciate it. We're going to have to correct it in minutes. All right?
Make a motion with the correction of the number 2 to 18028, we approve.
Okay, got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion second, roll call vote, start with Ryder.
Yes. Here.
Councilman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cronister? Mayor White?
Yes. All right, E, audience participation. Anyone having an item of business to present to City Council that does not appear on the agenda, please come to the podium at this time. State your name. You're requested to limit your presentation to 3 minutes. Any item must pertain to the City of El Reno business. Anybody have anything to say? Mr. Ashley, you want, come on up to the podium. You got to state your name.
Bradley Ashley. Has anyone told you anything about the cemetery? About having decorations out?
Yeah, we've heard a little bit about it. You kind of tell me what's going on and.
They told us that we couldn't have anything out there but flowers.
Okay, tell me again, Brad, give me, and I know everything, I just gotta get this.
No, you're right.
Tell me what your name is and what your address is.
Bradley Ashley and 1115 West Pine.
Okay. And the problem is that what now?
We can't have any decorations out around the headstone.
The only decorations that we can have are the ones that are in the vases that
Permanent
are-
fixtures.
Right.
Now-
But some of those have also been removed.
Okay.
How much, a gravesite, how much is a gravesite?
Well, it just depends. You're asking questions I don't know, but I'll be off the cuff because I can do it. I'm gonna say it's I think it's $750 is what we charge. Is that correct, Karen? Do you all know, Marcia?
They're more than that now.
Huh? No, it's not more than that.
If your residence is one, maybe $750, then
If- Yeah, there's a non-fee and there's a resident fee of whatever else, but yeah.
So is that for the 6x3 plot or is that just for your headstone?
Well, you buy, you're asking out of my wheelhouse, but I'm gonna answer it the best of my knowledge. It's a plot. And I sign all the plots and have for years. But the plot is, and Dana's in out here, and I tried to call them today because I knew Mr. Ashley sent me that question. I was gonna try to get some more information. But that plot is issued to you and I don't know how many plots are in.
We bought quite a few of them right there, all in one area.
I was gonna say, I think you can buy, and I know where I know where your area is. I know where your dad, I know where everybody's buried right there to Ashley's on that back row, on that back side, yeah.
So we want to put our bricks back around our headstone and decorate it because we weed eat it. We take all the weeds out of the rocks. We mow it. We take care of everything.
Well, let me tell you what's going on, and let me tell you what started this process, because it's very emotional, and we have had a lot of, we had a lot more Facebook questions than anything else, and a lot of people went out to the cemetery, and I think once they did that, they felt a little bit better, but you know, that cemetery is just a tough, sacred ground, and we know that for your loved ones and for us. We have a cemetery board, and I think they meet Friday is when the meeting is. Sure, no one's here to help me a little bit. Huh? It is Friday, 'cause I sent it to you, yeah. So it's Friday, they meet Friday, and they meet every probably 3 months. But when you bought that lot, like you're talking about, if you read that, it says you can't have anything out there besides what's permanent. Now, you're saying flowers, we have designated days and time frames, like Memorial Day, you can put it out, Mother's Day, you put it out, Father's Day, things like that, you can put it out for a period of time, they're not gonna mess with it. And then if it's, I think they give you a grace period of like a week, and then after that, they pick them up. They usually put a sign up, after so many days of that deal, they'll pick them up.
But a cemetery is for a memorial, right?
A cemetery basically is for a burial of a loved one, yes.
For you to go out there and remember them.
It is.
So when I go out there and I put stuff that reminds me of my grandfather,
Sure.
then I should be able to stay out there. We take care of it. We weed eat it. The cemetery don't have to do anything to our plot.
Here's a problem, right? And I'm with you. And I've seen I remember Jess. I remember I know right where you're talking about. But it's not just you all. What has happened is, on one area we have collected, I know, 34 of those hanging deals and some lights on one tombstone. When you bought your lot, there's absolutely been rules, and those rules have been in place. It's nothing that this board or anybody else has changed. It's been that way for the beginning of time, as far as I know, from the cemetery. You know, I don't know how long it's in place. But those rules state you cannot put anything out there. Cemeteries are there for conformity. Yes, they are there for remember, but there's rules set up of how tall the tombstones can be, how wide they got to be, the bases. They're all laid out in a straight line. They're all laid out. It's all rules. And what has happened is, over the years, because of the sensitivity, no one's really dealt with it. But I think over the couple of, probably last years, the cemetery board has caught a lot of of flack, kind of what we're talking about with some of the trash and stuff blowing some of the flowers and some other things because the wind blowing all over. It may look like there's a bunch of trash out there. So what they've done is the cemetery board just basically said, we've had these rules when they bought them. These rules have not changed. And it's going to be hurtful, we think, because we understand, but we have to adhere to those rules. Because other people were coming up and saying, I bought this lot and I don't like what's going on over here. I say we, the city set out before I was even born, before you were even born, the rules that were set out there to go by, and they haven't changed. So it might be hurtful. No one absolutely want to disrespect. I've seen things on Facebook where we've thrown some things away. We've had people steal things out there. I'm going to tell you, I know for a fact that cemetery board, and I'm not going to tell you the members. I mean, I'm not going to hide the members from you. I'm not going to pull them on TV. But I know for a fact 2 of those members on that board have lost children and buried children out there, kids. And I know that everybody on that cemetery board absolutely has one, if not several, people buried out there. So it's something that's not unique to you. I think they've tried to do it, and some of those people have been on that cemetery board for a long time because it's a very, it's not a real fun board to be on because you got people come up and say, I want a tombstone from Surreal, and I want this big, and the rules don't allow for that. So it's a tough situation, but nobody, including the city or the cemetery board or anybody, want to do any harm to anybody or do any ill reflection or hurt your feelings or your memory of your grandfather or anybody else. And if we did, I'm sorry for that, but we've been asked to go by the rules, and I think we have to at this point in time to keep and maintain the cleanliness, the sharpness, and be able for us to maintain it. I know for a fact, I've seen you guys out there mowing and weed eating around. You all have done a great job. But the problem is, I got several others that have not. Does that make sense? And I think there were a couple 2 down from where you guys had that stuff piled up this high. And so we just got to go by the rules. And it's got to where night lights and some things that they've sold have gotten popular over the years, and it just got in our way, and we can't mow around them. And if we do, then we end up getting blamed for tearing something up, and we don't want to do that either. So we're trying to be respectful. We want to absolutely be respectful. We don't want to hurt anybody's feelings or anybody's emotions on this deal at all, but we have to be able to maintain that. Does that make sense? So
we can decorate, or on the tombstone that's permanent, how much is the slab around that much?
Supposed to be 6 inches around.
I was going to say, Timmy laid those slabs out there.
Can we decorate around that?
And that's going to have to go to probably the cemetery board.
You have to look at it. I think it's on the grave as a
Because
whole.
the reason they have you put the 6-inch borders for their mowing purposes, so they don't get a fault if their deck hits your stone.
They give that 6 inches so it buffers you from hitting your
So
stone.
That's the deal. Is they don't want liability if you have something on that border and it gets hit by a mower or something. That's the whole reason for that, is liability of them mowing around things.
And we understand. And we tried to fill on the cemetery, and people have, put things on. And hey, I can't fault them. We understand it's not. And the city, really the cemetery board's one, and I'm not putting them under the bus. We absolutely support, what they want to do. They run a good ship out there. But the bottom line is that, we're trying to keep uniformity, make it clean, and it just, not you all have absolutely taken care of your area, but other people haven't, and we just gotta, it's just kind of one of those things, one apple ruins the whole thing. We just gotta get control of it. And it just got out of control. And somebody put on Facebook, why didn't you, if you just put a simple deal on the water bill? Well, first of all, I don't think people realize this, but there's 32,000 people buried out there at that cemetery. And most of the families aren't around, and I guarantee you we got 5,000 water meters. So I guarantee we wouldn't have caught by the water meter. We put it on Facebook, we put signs up, we put it in the newspaper, and I applaud the people that helped us on Facebook. They said, yeah, we tried to put it out several months before so they could collect it. We took things down. They showed pictures of the trash can where they were laying in. The workers placed that in there. We did not throw things over the deal. I mean, this city and those people that work at that cemetery absolutely see you all come out there with your loved ones. They know how sacred it is. And I guarantee you, I know those 2 gentlemen and those 2 ladies that work out there, and I know that cemetery board, and no one would want to do anything to disrespect anybody. Does that make sense? I know it doesn't make you feel better, but that's what the decision was. And I'm glad y'all came up here
There's
and
still some unclaimed belongings out there, I was told tonight by someone that is stacked up that, you know, they have pulled up and trying to find
And we've had
who they
people,
belong to. But
we've had people build expensive, you know, wooden and metal things, and they get stolen, they blame us. They've been stolen, and we found out some of that stuff in the past. You know, we've caught some of those people. Ken, is that right? I mean, so it just got out of control, and we absolutely, no one wants to be disrespectful, but we had to get control of it. I say we, the cemetery board, and I think we all agree. I know that it make you feel better, Brad, but I know Jess, and I understand. I know how much you meant to you and your family, and we want that to make a nice place for you all.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming up. Any other questions? Any other comments? Bueller? All right, we'll move on.
10.
We're going to skip 8 and 9. We're going to move on to 10. To conduct a public hearing on the intersection of US 81 and 66, conceptual design alternatives. I'm going to call the public hearing open. What are you doing here? No, get up here. Brian, introduce yourself and show these people the deal so they can start yelling at us. I'm okay.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council members. Really appreciate the opportunity to present tonight. We're excited to be here and tell you about our progress and include you in addressing some issues with the US 81 and 66 intersection. The modifications we're presenting tonight are in the 8-year construction work plan for the department, and they are scheduled for right-of-way and utilities in 2020 with construction in 2023. My design team is here with me tonight. The design team is Freeze and Nichols. Freeze and Nichols, again, is a very capable, well-respected, long-established engineering consulting firm with a lot of experience working on projects just like this. And I would like to introduce you to them. With Freeze and Nichols tonight is Tricia Hatley. Tricia will be doing part of the presentation. Also Brandon Huxford and Mr. Paul Green are here. Tricia.
Evening, Honorable Mayor and Council. Thank you for having us here. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. So this project is a partnership, obviously, with the City of El Reno and ODOT. Next slide. Just some background information for you. As you know, the project location shown there in red is a primary route into the City of El Reno. You've talked this evening already about the growth that the city is experiencing and will continue to experience. Next slide. And this one, as we zoom into the project location, if you'll click twice, I think some arrows will come up. And these two red arrows represent the primary traffic movements at the intersection, as you all are probably well aware. And the traffic going northbound and turning west onto 66 is a heavy movement, as well as the traffic trying to travel eastbound and go south on US 81. Next slide. So as we worked on this study, we also looked at the commercial development that is happening in the area and took that those new traffic generators into account in the analysis. Next slide. And so there's several different components of the analysis that we address here with this project, and we looked at the geometric issues. If you think about the north-south movements at this intersection, there's a little bit of an offset there that causes some issues. The lack of acceleration lane from I-40 onto US 81. And of course, we want to address operational improvements for those predominant movements that I talked about, and address the population increase as it continues to generate more traffic in the area. And maybe the primary reason that this project is before you today is because of safety concerns, accidents that you've had at the intersection. So if you go to the next slide, I'm going to show you two different alternatives that we wanted to bring forward for you to take a look at this evening. And the first one is an enhancement of the traditional signalized intersection that you have out there today.
Would you mind, they can't hear you in the back, could you pull that microphone to you a little bit more?
I may have to lean in.
Lean it up a little bit. There you go.
There you go. Is that better?
Is that better?
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you. So this first alternative is an enhancement of the existing intersection out there. And so if you think about the northbound approach, if you're going north on 81, we added one additional through lane for that side. On the westbound and eastbound legs on 66, added an additional left turn bay, so you'd have dual lefts at those locations. And then on the southbound, and would look at adjusting the geometrics a little bit to try to get it to line up a little bit better, and adding adding a left turn lane there at that intersection. So that's alternative 1. If you go to the next slide, you'll see alternative 2 is a multi-lane roundabout. In this configuration, you'd have 2 lanes of through traffic in each direction, and would maintain that single lane southbound bypass lane just like you have in the existing intersection. So on the next slide, I just want to point out just a couple of reasons why we're even considering a roundabout at this location. The primary reason is, well, really two main reasons is safety and operational performance. And we wouldn't be bringing this alternative to you if it wasn't the best from an operational standpoint. So you will see operational improvements for those predominant movements, as well as you'll see huge increases in the performance of the intersection during off-peak times. But safety is really the main reason why most people consider roundabouts at locations like this. If you look at a traditional intersection, you have about 32 different conflict points at the intersection, and the little red dots on the map kind of illustrate those. And those are locations where you have potential for head-on crashes and T-bone type crashes that are serious in nature, can cause injuries. Whereas in a roundabout, the kinds of crashes are typically very less serious side swipe type crashes, and there are fewer conflict points, as you see in the illustration. On the next slide, I'm going to start to walk through the analysis. And we looked at several different things. Of course, the operations, how it would perform from looking at the design year traffic projected volumes, which is 2043. And we looked at the severity of potential crashes. And we looked at right-of-way and environmental considerations, as well as possible drainage impacts and utility impacts, and of course, construction costs. So on the next slide, and you'll see we developed a matrix to look at these different components. And the items shown there with the blue outline are pretty much the same between the two two alternative layouts, and no real differences there. So on the next slide, we just kind of narrow in on the items that are significantly different between the two alternatives, and we're comparing those against a no-build alternative. And so on the next slide, there you go. You'll see with the colors on this one, and what we're showing is that, for instance, in the very first column on the far left, if you look at the total delay in the AM peak period, Alternative 1 has some increase in efficiency over some reduction in delay, or increase in efficiency over what you have out there today, but Alternative 2 is much better. And so the one that is the big differentiator between the two is the potential for serious crashes. As I mentioned, roundabouts are much safer from a seriousness of crashes standpoint, and so you'll see the big difference there. So overall, when you put numbers to it, the Alternative 2 comes out to be the better alternative, both as you can see here from an operational standpoint, as well as safety, and from a construction cost standpoint, they're pretty much the same. So on the next slide, this project is in ODOT's 8-year work plan, and it is scheduled for right-of-way and utility clearances to begin in 2020, and then construction to start in 2023. And so after the meeting tonight, the plan would be to move into design of the project in order to meet those milestones. So on the next slide, I have 3 renderings here. The next 3 slides are renderings of what it could look like. Another side benefit of roundabouts is they can be done where they're aesthetically pleasing. You can have a nice little gateway feature in the middle of the roundabout that you can't really have with a traditional signalized intersection. So this rendering shows what that could look like, and this is drawn off of the maps that you've seen on the boards and the map out in the foyer. If you go to the next slide,
Yeah.
zoom
go
in
ahead.
a little bit.
I want
there.
to say something about, but you're okay right here.
Yes.
Like we were talking about, with the lanes wider than what we have currently right now, the roundabout, a lot of the questions we had at the meeting were if we have those windmills come through or higher traffic, how is that going to allow with, and those are very good questions. And they're wider now than you currently have. So we're handling that traffic as it is, not real well, but they'll be wider. But you can see the lane itself, the two lanes are going right here with the roundabout. The stamped concrete, that's the ring around there, I call it the safety ring. You can call it what you want, but basically it's drivable surface, is that correct? It's not marked to drive on, but.
Right. It's called, and we call it a truck apron. So it's got
Drivable
like
surface,
a.
truck apron, but go ahead.
Right, it's a little bit higher. It's got a little mountable curb, and they're separating it from the travel lanes. And so when a semi truck goes through the intersection, if depending on how they traverse it, they can go up onto that truck apron to traverse through.
And I think it was Mr. Hank's question, and he made a great question, because the main thing is that we're concerned with, as they come around that corner, having enough room, and if something does happen. This is an oversized, basically, this is a bigger roundabout than what we've ever have here in Oklahoma. And this is the first roundabout that the state has done, but they've been done in several municipalities
Right.
on different scales. Is that correct?
That's right.
And the reason why those boxes were marked that it would fit is because we have that area currently where the sign that says El Reno, and that area that we can push that over to that area. Is that correct?
That's right. It's both alternatives have basically the same amount of right-of-way taken. It's really very minimal up on the north side of the intersection where the two gas stations are. There's a little bit of land needed there to either for the roundabout to make the corner movements, or if we widen the existing signalized intersection, they widen out just a little bit too. So the footprints are identical. If you look at them on the boards, you can see.
And basically what happens is on these roundabouts, they slow down in traffic as they go around there. It's just that's human nature. You slow down, you go down there, and then the main thing is you're not talking about head-on collisions. Is that correct?
That's right.
And they're more side swipes or whatever else.
Side swipes, yes. So, could cause damage to vehicle but don't injure the people, whereas a head-on or a T-bone is typically, what you'd have at a signalized intersection, somebody running the light and hitting somebody, and those can be very serious and cause injuries.
Okay.
Yes.
How wide is that ring? Of course, it's not in final design now.
Yeah, we haven't designed it yet, so yes.
But we're going to make that a priority because we had the room to do it. We're going to make that a priority because of the truck traffic and everything else. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. And that truck apron will be to be determined, but it'll be sufficient where the design that we're going to go with is going to accommodate a tractor trailer. And it will certainly accommodate the wind energy truck much better than the intersection that's there now.
Well,
so they're going to have to use it by themselves going through it, but they can absolutely go through plenty fine.
And our main concern was, and we had some really good questions at the meeting that we had, Brian. A lot of the business owners came out and talked about it, and it was a lot of questions. But after they got the flow of it, everybody currently knows there's a problem there now. And the problem is that if we don't do something to this alternative that's going to be the less accidents or whatever else, we're going to have to go back to the drawing board. Is that correct? I mean, probably will. I mean, I would think.
I think it's important to mention that when we start looking at future traffic volumes, the signal system that we have, the standard traffic signal that we were looking at making improvements, it breaks down in the near future.
Sure.
The traffic circle gives you additional years. And then we also have the ability to modify it to take you well into the future. So it's a better design today, and it's a better design in the future.
Gotcha.
One of the reasons why the roundabout comes as the preferred option is this intersection was identified based on the high number of accidents that were occurring. Well, the purpose of the project is, again, to address the number of accidents. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety tells us this is nationwide, that there's a 39% reduction in all accidents as a result of putting in a roundabout. Additionally, it's a 79% decrease in injury accidents and a 89% decrease in fatality or incapacitating injuries. And it's a beautiful, it's a good, unique location for it that is well suited for a roundabout.
Okay, Brian, the bottom line is this.
Yes, sir.
Roundabouts scare the hell out of people.
Yes, sir.
And I get that because they scared the hell out of me. But I wasn't for this at first. But I'm telling you, you cannot deny the data. I mean, we're not going by what you like or what you don't like. What your analysis, you're taking all the emotion out of it. You're a bean counter. I'm kind of poking the bear a little bit. Engineer, bean counter, same thing. Yeah. Sorry, Paul. But what I mean by that is you're trying to design something. I'm joking, but you're trying to design something based on the facts and what the situation is. And really, on this particular intersection, because of the way Loves and because of the way the land that we have cramped on one side and the land that we have access to that we could use, this is the most safest, most functional design that we could ask for, that you could come up with. Is that correct? And you all showed us 2 designs, Brian.
Yes, sir.
But those designs are the final design of all the other studies. You had several designs before that we had that still came back to the roundabout. Is that correct?
We started out with 9 options. We narrowed them down to 5 and then to 3, and now we're at the 2.
Yep.
There are a lot of efforts gone into it. I share your same concerns.
I know you do.
That.
I know.
Matter of fact, I said we're not going to take a roundabout to them without showing them a standard intersection also.
Yep.
There is not any in the state of Oklahoma on the state highway system, but they're pretty common all the way across the United States. Folks in northern Oklahoma, up near Perry, Ponca City, are used to going through them in Kansas. They work really well, and I can promise you if I'm going to be a part of building the first roundabout in the state of Oklahoma, it's going to be right.
Sure, and I know that we know it's going to be a high-profile project, and we just can't make a decision based on not liking it or not wanting to do it. And and we talked to business people, and the business people out there, they pretty well understood where we were coming from, and they accepted it because they understood there's absolutely a problem out there right now.
Okay, a lot of surveys have been done before and after. What we see, and it's very common that you have 70% of your folks are against it. When you first start, and 2 months after it's built, 70% of the folks approve of it. It's a perfect graph that we can show as a display, and it's because of change. People, it's hard to teach old dog new tricks.
We're sure doing a lot of change tonight, but anyway, about tired of changing. All right.
We're excited to be here. I think it's a great place and a great option, and I certainly would encourage you to ask any questions. And this is a scale model. It fits the models that we have. So the truck tracking is exactly like the truck tracking is going to be. So if you want to go out in the lobby and run a car through it, you can run a car through it. Not only are we asking you to bless this and endorse it, but I'm also telling you, if this is your choice, that we're going to come at it hard with a PR campaign from the department. So we're going to
and we've talked about that
and ask for your help. And we're talking YouTube videos. We're talking coloring books. We're going to reach out to the community as a whole to start an education, educate the public on what a roundabout is and how to drive through it.
Sure.
How will it increase the traffic flow as far as how long people have to be in the intersection? Because now it takes a long time in those lights, and then you've got all the semis coming, and it's hard to get around with semis in the way.
You're constantly moving at this.
Right. So with this, how will it increase the flow and the time that you're in that area?
Right. I mean, the best thing about roundabouts is if, at a signalized intersection with the timing, you have to wait for the light to turn green, even if there's not anybody there. Right. If the roundabout, you yield on entry. If there's nobody in the roundabout, you go. So there's, during off-peak times, you're going to see a lot better traffic flow. And during the peak times, it still operates better than the signalized intersection, but you're going to have the same issues, with the semi-trucks that you'll see when you go out here, when you don't want to, in your dual left turn lanes, you don't want to be next to the semi-truck as he's trying to turn left, right? It's kind of the same with the the roundabout, so that the trucks slow down a little bit, but but you will see no more than it's the same as the existing. Yes.
It'll flow quicker.
And the problem is, Tracy, is, and I want the best analogy, what I say right now, and I want to say, Brian, this team, Paul, I've worked with Paul for years. This team's, they've done their homework. Brian is a man of his word. Brian wants the best thing for the state of Oklahoma. He's helped that organize for several years. We're going to make sure it's right. But we got to have these conversations. But the conversations we're going to have right now, when you're coming in town and Love's is in front of you, and you're going to turn to go to Don Serapio's, every time you do that, this car right here decides to get gas in there and go in there. And the problem is, we have a problem there right now.
Absolutely.
And we have a signal problem when you're coming back from Timmy's house. When you go get the highway, you can't turn right because the flow of the traffic stops because there's no turn right on red when you're coming from the north. Thank you, Dale. So the problem is now when you do all that, goes back to what Paul and I talked about the other day, and Ken and I have been talking about several times. They're all trying to beat the light. So if you're here from El Reno, I'm trying to hurry up and get my butt across there because I'm running late already. I got to be at the VOTEC. I'm trying to beat that light. Hence, people are getting killed. Right. I mean, and people are going to get hurt. There's head-on collisions. That's where we're at. And it's not working the way it is. We don't like this. It's not a perfect deal. And I say we don't like it. We don't like it in our mind. But Brian and I walked through this deal with them and all the data. It's like reading the Bible. It's all laid out there for you. So you can't deny it. And don't quote me on that, Ray. But but the bottom, if I say that, then Brian will be walking on the water out there at Lake El Reno. But the bottom line is that the statistics are there to do it. So those are the questions. But the oversized ring is what I like. I think I'm concerned with that. And I know as we go through the design process, that's going to be part of it. Because also what's happening is a lot of the truck traffic that we had currently from like OKC West, everything else, they're using Radio Road now. Mm-hmm. It's a lot closer. It's a lot less congested. They ain't got to wait for the lights. So this design that they've done was on those numbers originally without Radio Road. Is that correct? Correct. But now within that, so it should help the flow quite a bit.
Well, I avoid that intersection. Every day I come this way home from the city, and I avoid that intersection, and I'll take Radio Road. I'll go north, mm-hmm. and then come up, down, whatever.
66.
Thank you. And to avoid that intersection, so this opening up and giving everybody a more comfortable way to travel, and you're not bogged down.
And to answer your question, your original question on the delay, it was one of the measures that we used to compare, and the roundabout is significantly less delay than the standard intersection.
All the boxes that you checked on the roundabout, besides the comfort level, were checked to the plus. Is that correct? I mean, everything was checked to the plus. The only thing that was the security, of the first go around. But once, like you said, once you get going there, you're there. Okay.
It has no stoplights, no stop signs. So the simple question is, you never have to stop there. You just ease around and go.
No. Okay. Well, I want to make sure all these people have questions. Are you all are done? Is that correct, ma'am?
Yes. Okay. Yes, sir. I'll be here for questions.
Okay, Brian. Okay. Any questions, Ms. Tranks? You had. Go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
What, no?
Linda's lane.
Sorry, Linda.
I'm glad I don't need that.
No, that's fine, Linda.
They say it's safer.
Yes, ma'am.
How many accidents have actually been there this year?
Well,
Has anybody been killed there at that intersection this year?
I can speak to that in general terms. The way it was identified is we look at the number of accidents per intersection, then we look at the amount of vehicles that travel through it. And I have a list of my top 300 intersections within the 9 counties, and this fell within the top 25. Okay. And that's why I targeted. So as compared to all the cities within my 9 counties, it was elevated to one of the top 25.
Yeah.
Okay, but do you know how many accidents? I've lived here, and I haven't ever heard but one out there.
Okay, now, I'm gonna.
I've seen a lot of them out there, but yeah.
And I know that way.
And I'm gonna play Mayor Matt just a second, kind of speak off the cuff.
Go ahead.
I believe we're looking close to 25 accidents plus a year is what we're looking at, a year, 25 25, and that includes all of them. Most of them are going to be property damage, accidents, but you're looking at 25 plus.
Okay, on this roundabout, do you have yield signs, lights, or do you just take off?
No, there are yield signs, and when you approach the yield sign, you wait till both lanes are clear, whether not
Well,
just one lane, but
I
both.
know how they work, but does everybody? These trucks, they run red lights, why would they yield?
Well,
And they
here's
won't.
the bottom line. It's all right. No, and we understand what you're saying, but it's kind of one of those things. What we did, Linda, and I hear what you're saying, but the bottom line is that whatever they do, we can't stop them from doing. But what they do now is if they do something, it'll be less of an accident, less of a fatality. Now here's the bottom line is, whether we know how many people died at the intersection or not, we can absolutely get those numbers. We don't have those. He does have, they base that on this is a very high risk intersection. Yeah, I think everybody would agree with that. Nope. I mean, it was, sure. And the problem is, Linda, that in other states, this is common. It's one of those things that helps the flow of traffic. So what they're trying to do here is basically direct with signage, and it'll be signage. And just like you said, what's going to happen is when they come through there, like you, the first time you go through there, you're going to be slow down. You're going to slow down because you're not going to know exactly. You're going to be scared, and you're going to slow down a little bit. And then once you slow down, you go through that thing, your mind's going to get adjusted to it. Now, you live here, so I guarantee you after a month, you'll be driving that van all the way through that thing 15 times, as fast as you can. Trust me, I know you will. I've seen you drive. Matter of fact, Ken, Chief Brown, will you get her? You'll get her tag number. No, but the bottom line is, I know. And the bottom line is, Linda, I know what you're saying, but the statistics show that it's safer. And the other thing is, we just don't know what to do at that intersection because there's too many other entities involved, and this is the best solution we can come up to.
Well, there's others. The first one they gave was more realistic.
It is.
Put it that way.
It is absolutely
Traditional.
Yeah.
Nips and tucks
Sure.
will fix that road where you get on Shepherd and those people come out. You can fix that. You can widen it and make them actually turn and let them worry about it.
All I can tell you is this. On paper, it looks because it's comfortable. It's comfort food for you. We understand. But if you want me to go out to the parking lot and do surgery on your leg, and I'm making this up, I know, because I'm not a doctor, all we can do is trust what the state. Now, I'm going to say one other thing. The state has been very nice, and Brian has been very concerned, along with the firm. Paul used to be our engineer here. They've contacted us we've been on this project we've been working this for a year or so, a year and a half, almost 2 years. So, but the bottom line is, both those intersections is 81 and 66. That's really the state of Oklahoma. Now, they're here to kind of help give our blessing because they want the citizens of El Reno to be a part of this. They want them to understand it. They want to get the information out. We're not paying for any of it because it's not our roads. It's not really our ultimate decision. Now, saying that, they want us to have input on it. And like I said, we had a nice meeting where we brought all the business people out around there that we tried to send letters out. I think Ridge, his wife, were the only ones that didn't make it. I invited them here tonight. But they wanted to make sure that they come out here and they look at it and do it. And they were a little apprehensive too, Linda, and I understand that. But they all said, a little bit better than you, that number one is not working. And because they are out there, they see the wrecks.
That doesn't have any change.
That's not much, but that's the design they're talking about. It's not very little changes. And the bottom line is, the way it's laid out, there's not much else they can do unless you change the whole design of it. And that's the problem. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but that's their design, and that still doesn't alleviates no problems. That alleviates that doesn't create any solutions. That just keeps it the same.
There's a lot of things that need to be fixed in the whole town. Why spend all it on one, that much money when we have other things that need to be done? We need to lower the speed on the viaduct going down into town because trucks run that light every day.
And that's a good point you brought up, but I will tell you, first of all, we're not paying for that.
Well,
It's all state. Hang on, let me answer your question because you got a good point on it. Mr. Taylor and I also have been working on for about 5 or 6 years on the new bridge that you're talking about, and we're going to look at some of that issues that you talked about. In November this year, we're going to get that new bridge that you're talking about, Linda, that comes over that viaduct. Those are problems, and that's a state issue that we've done some partnerships with the state and the city. So that's going to help push you too. So,
My question now is,
well, hang on. Let me answer those 2 other questions first. I want you to like those other 2 questions first. Did those satisfy you?
okay, go ahead.
Did those satisfy you? I mean,
Well, kind of, but I think everybody in this town needs to have a say-so. I think there should be a special election or something, because I don't know if I trust all of you, and I hope I do, but, you know, it should be the vote of everybody that lives in this town,
well,
not just y'all. No offense.
no, that's okay, and we understand where you come from, but we're not voting. It's not our money we're spending, not your money, well, not your money.
But it's our lives that are involved in this town.
And
We should have a say-so in that.
and we are letting you have a say-so now, but what we're trying to tell you is,
No, you're letting me, but not everybody.
well, we've had two public meetings, and we want to make sure we hear all the complaints.
Put something in the paper, a survey, send it out, mail something out, give everybody in this town something that they can respond to on this.
Well, the problem is this, it goes back to the doctor and the leg deal. Whether you trust us or not, these people are trained professionals. And when I go to that emergency room, I hope that doctor has been trained and has the information to save my life. And hang on, and I'm going to tell you, I think these engineers and these people that deal with highway safety, and a lot of these people are ODOT, retired ODOT that work for them, and ODOT is absolutely for the citizens of the state of Oklahoma. This, number one, whether you like it or not, we've said it over and over again, shows safety, more so than others. But there, it's.
We haven't seen it here.
I understand, but we're not.
We should have a say in it.
What I'm trying to tell you is, we're not engineers.
This is yours.
Sure. I understand, Linda. Any other questions? Yeah. Julie. Well, the timeline he gave you was is that basically they're going to have it on 2020. They're going to do the right-of-way and the engineering, is that correct? Utility movement and everything else. And then construction will start 2023 is what the year. So it'll be the 5-year plan. Now, okay, now that's now I get what you're saying. Let me finish it up. Yeah, that's when the process will start construction. Now, that's a good point you brought up, and Brian and I were we changed our minds on some of this along with the engineers during the process with meeting with the other ones. Their concern was how long it's going to take to build the design. So Brian, and you know, I don't want to get up and explain this, let me explain it. The bottom line is we have an A and B type deal in the system of Oklahoma to where it gives the contractor incentive to get done on time, and they can make that decision. And I think Brian agrees that this would be a time-sensitive job that we would absolutely look at maybe doing that at that point in time. Does that make sense? Well, it's not out of design yet, so they don't know exactly what the whole thing's would be. But that'd be something that we would look at. Do I know we could do that for a fact? No, but that's something that we'd look forward after we get design to get it done quickly so we can get on with the project. Does that make sense? Yes, hang on, Julie.
Charlotte Garcia.
Yeah, Charlotte.
And my question is, currently, as you approach Highway 66 heading north, there are 3 lanes. So it's my understanding this will have wider lanes, but there will just be 2 lanes. Is that correct? From the time you leave I-40, there won't be 3 lanes heading north anymore, right?
The way that it shows right now, there'll be 2 lanes. Is that correct?
2 lanes through the intersection of 66 and 81. There can be 3 coming up from the south, but there'll be a lane drop
Yeah.
before you get into the intersection.
Yes.
That means the lane will just merge
It
over.
can be a merge or a drop.
A merger or drop. Mm-hmm.
It's 15 feet wide.
Then you're going to worry about all that truck traffic again coming up from Highway 81 and getting over again.
Well, and once again, Charlotte, I see what you're saying, but the bottom line is the reason why we have those lanes are basically for storage too on some of that, you know, because of the transition of the storage of the light. So what's going to happen is the way that they're designing it, it'll all flow. There won't be any stopping. Now, they'll be slowing everything else, and at high traffic areas are going to have some, you know, you're going to have people slowing down and, there'll be more cars there than what it's, what you'd like to have. But you're right, Charlotte. The bottom line is that we'll go down to 2, but that's there to get you in and where you need to go to get out and go to the next exit. Does that make sense? So, and I know it's tough, and I know, believe me, we understand. It's just, but it's one of those things. This is the safest one that they've come up with, the engineers, and they've worked real hard on this. Okay, any other questions? Yes, Julie. State your name.
My name is Julie Slymaker, and it's not really a question but a statement, is that I admire the state of ODOT and Lisa Nickel, the designers, that they are including our community in this decision making. That is actually 100% state's decision. Doesn't make the final decision. The state of Oklahoma does. And I think that we have to admire them for including all of the community. And each person in this town makes the choice whether they want to participate in the hearings and the town hall meetings. And I think it's very admirable of them to help us understand it all better and also field all questions and concerns. But I can see there's so much more improvement in the safety factor alone. Because I have sat there on many occasions at the northbound light coming off 81 to turn west on 66 and watched eastbound traffic run the red lights. And if I hadn't waited a few seconds, I would have been involved in a T-bone accident on several occasions. And a lot of that will disappear because of the roundabout. There is some that are much smaller scale, but up on 10th Street, right west of St. Anthony Hospital. When the city went through and redid all that area, because of the high traffic of all the medical business area there, they are a much smaller roundabout, but you can get the idea of how they operate and how they work if you choose to go look at one or participate in going around it.
It's called class and circle.
And the bottom line is, Julie, I appreciate those comments. And I think it goes back to the point where you're right, we don't have anything. But I will tell you, this group, which is the independent contractors, and I'm kind of throwing Paul, he's with them, but he's kind of with them. These guys were at stake. They all live in Oklahoma. They all understand this. They all want the safety. That's their life. It's like, and I'm comparing them to doctors, and I'm joking about the bean counters. These people are the engineers designed on saving lives and engineering something that's going to be the factors going down. And whether we like it because we're just not comfortable with it, just because we can't see something doesn't mean we should be against it. But I will tell you, that they want our support, and I think it's important that they want to come in. The main thing is, and I appreciate everybody in this room, but I'm going to even kind of jump on the ledge here a little bit. I appreciate the business owners that came because, it's going to affect them, because they're worried about, their question was, is it going to turn people coming in my business? That's their livelihood that supports several people, that everything else. So, and when we had that meeting, there was some confrontation, but most of the thing was positive. There were some questions, and we're going to make some changes based on some of those information that we got, and we're not against that. We're for this. This is going to be a growing project as we go along, but we need to support this so we can get this on the books and stop the accidents out there and move forward so these people can get going and go from there. Any other questions?
One additional, I think it's wonderful that El Reno will be the first one in the state to have this facility for transportation opportunities, and it will put a plus in the overall look and reputation of the town.
Well, and I don't like getting on TV or anything like that, but
Whatever.
but and I
Sorry.
don't like being out in the public or anything else. But I'm excited when you get me and Brian, because all the girls go crazy over us anyway. When you get us up there and we're touting that this is a new facility, I know it's tough. It's the right thing to do, and we need to support the state in their endeavors, and we need to support them in the right thing to do for the citizens of not just us, but the traveling public that come to visit us. Period, end of story. Any other questions? Dale?
Well, I just wanted to say that I agree. I'm not familiar with this project at all, to be honest with you. But it seems like a great opportunity for us to move into the future, just like everybody east of us has done. Move the town, move the community into a better place, more modern, and maybe this will kind of springboard into, like somebody else said about the viaduct
Viaduct's getting done. That's right, Dale.
You know, the intersection at the bottom of the hill, I mean, just use it as an opportunity to grow and be a better place.
Sure. And one day we can maybe have running water and some lights. So, all right, any other questions? Thank you, Dale. Thank you, Kathy. All right. I now consider this public hearing closed. Discussion, consideration, possible action to support conceptual design of the Highway US 81 and 66 intersection. I make a motion that we support this project and move it forward. I got a motion and a second. Roll call vote start with Bob Ballhorn.
Yes.
Councilman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Ryder?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cronster? Mayor White?
Yes. Motion carries. If you don't mind, let's take about a 2-minute break because I got a break.
We've been here a long time.
Okay, we're back for a little recess. Let's go on to now item number 11. Matt, discussion, consideration, possible action to award bid I-25 Lincoln School roof. Matt, we went out the bids at the same time. Is that correct? Okay. We did the same thing for that. It's a roof, and it came back at how much? Show me the bids, or tell me the bids.
Standard roofing,
Yeah, take your time, Matt.
$50,467.
We've been here all day. There ain't no sense in going fast now. How much?
Raise the mic. So we can,
Raise the mic, please.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Standard roofing came in at $50,467. Nuremberg roofing came in at $100,006,460.
Why so different?
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Is there-
Yeah, well, yeah, there is.
Okay, materials or something?
No, same specs, everything checked out, just like the same before, but Nuremberg had basically tear off the whole roof, replace the whole deal, and then what we did was just, all we needed to do was just that first half of what was leaking was
So we
problem.
don't need to tear it all off.
No, we don't. Is that right, Matt?
Right, Nuremberg bid about 100 foot of roof, and we only, this is 740 feet of roof. That's how it was inspected.
So he bid twice the roof, is why there's so much difference, okay.
That's where it's at.
Okay.
So I make a motion, or I need to have a motion, I make a motion we approve standard roofing. Is that right, Matt? At $50,467?
That's right.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So how did you come with the specs that only half of the roof needed to be redone and not the decking?
That was based on, the occupancy that we're going to do is with the school system. So Wes Higgins got a long night. West Brower, thank you, came up, and basically that was a part that was damaged. And then we also had some insurance, is that right, Matt? People look at it at some certain point in time that they came back and told us.
Okay.
Well, and there's really 4 sections of roof there, 4 different sections of roof. And so the southern 40 feet is the worst section of roof that we're having the most trouble with as far as leaks and as far as
Most
it
trouble,
goes.
are there any problems with the other part that is not being bid in this 50,000? Or is it just a Band-Aid to the fixed part, or?
Right now, we have not had any of, we saw a couple little water spots in a couple little locations, but we could patch those. This roof right here is damaged, basically, so this will be replaced. So at this point in time, we're just replacing it in order to get it up to the school so they want to use it for their facility, so it's still, yeah, that's what we're trying to do. Anything else, Ms. Ryder?
No.
Okay. I have a motion. I made a motion to approve standard roofing, $50,467.
Second.
I got a second by Bob. Roll call vote start with Ballhorn.
Yep.
Councilman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Ryder?
Yes.
Mayor White?
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to 12. Discussion, consideration, possible action to award agreement for services for W.H. Lochner, design and manage bidding process, construction of 2 hangars. This was as the authority. Do I have a motion per authority?
Motion per authority.
I have a motion per authority.
Second.
Second by Ryder. She beat you to the punch, Bob.
That's fine.
Start with we'll start with Ballhorn. Let's start with you.
Yes.
Councilman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Ryder?
Yes.
Mayor White?
Yes. We'll go on to 12, discussion consideration possible, 13, discussion consideration possible action to approve award lease for Bar State local golf course facility. Most responsible proposal to authorize city manager to negotiate terms with city attorney approval of, as a legal form to, for release agreement.
Motion approved per authority.
Have a motion for
Second.
Got a second? Roll call vote start with Ryder.
Yes.
Councilman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn?
Yep.
Vice Mayor Cronster? Mayor White?
Abstain. Number 14, discussion of possible action to approve award construction management contract for Mercy, the new Mercy Hospital, authorize the mayor to sign an acting manager to negotiate terms with city attorney, approve as a legal form.
Motion approved for authority.
Have a motion to approve authority?
Second.
Second by Ballhorn. Roll call vote start with Ryder.
Yes.
Councilman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn?
Yes.
Mayor White?
Abstain. Discussion consideration possible action to approve event permit for Oklahoma Free Will scheduled June the 11th and 12th of Adams Park, El Reno, for possibility of 300 plus participants and capping for public property. Basically, Matt, we got a special permit. We've all met together, Mr. Legali, Mr. Brown, myself, and you. And I think Gann was involved in some initial conversations. We just want to make sure it didn't conflict. We got these big bicyclists coming in for a big tournament on Monday, July. It's a big
A ride across the
ride-
state,
ride across-
bicycles.
they're riding
Yeah.
across
Great way to
66
showcase the community.
is what they're doing. So it's a great place to showcase our community, like Roger said, but they're going to stay overnight. We've done a partnership with the El Reno school system. Some of the participants are going to stay in the old, what we call the YMCA, and then we're going to let them camp out at night because they want to camp out. That's what they do as they go along. We asked the lake, but they wanted to be closer, and they're going to have a shower facility and a whole overlay that we've looked at. We've kind of tweaked a little bit, but they're going to stay there at the pecan grove. They want some shade. It's going to be hot, so they wanted some shade and some area right there in Adams Park.
Yeah, by the line.
So you're right there, right across the street from the hospital in the
Right.
I call it pecan grove. You know what I'm talking about, Bob.
North side of the hospital
That's
there?
right, yep. So, anyway, anything else?
So everything has been looked at as far as how many trash cans per people and all that, so there's not.
Matter of fact, they're going through the process. It still haven't been issued and everything else. We're going to go through the final permits, and we're going to meet with them again. Is that correct? But I will tell you, Tracy, we have had questions through the process. This hadn't been just a come up here, this first time deal. We've had, matter of fact, they were going to do different, I'm not going to tell you what the location they were going to do, but we changed that. So, concerns noted and granted.
Make a motion, we approve.
Have a motion we approve?
Yeah, I'll second.
Now, I want to make sure the motion is approved upon staff's final recommendation.
Correct.
Is that correct, Bob?
Yes.
Okay. Tracy, did you say second, Timmy? Second? Okay, start with Ryder.
Yes.
Councilman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Ballhorn?
Yes.
Mayor White?
Yes. Discussion, consideration, possible action to approve a special event alcohol permit for Wild Horse Canyon Farms and Chase Walker for the sale of wine at the Burger Day Festival downtown El Reno. This basically has to have a special permit because of the liquor laws. We've always allowed them to sell wine down there, and we want to continue that. I make a motion we approve.
Second.
I got a second by Ryder. Roll call vote with Bob.
Sure.
Councilman Ballhorn.
Councilman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Ryder?
Yes.
Mayor White?
Yes. Discussion, consideration, possible action to accept completed project of removal of sludge from the North Lagoon of the old wastewater treatment facility, also known as Project I-07 Water Refuse Project, and known as, final payment of $26,310 to Tonto Environmental.
Motion to approve for authority.
Motion we approve authority.
Second?
Second. Roll call vote start with Bob Ballhorn.
Yes.
Councilman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Ryder? Yes. Mayor White?
Yes. Presentation financial report. Marcia, we doing good?
We are, our revenues and, well.
Good. Any questions? Okay, we'll go on to Bob. Reports.
Nothing of.
Tracy?
Nope.
Timmy?
I got, well, I don't know. Do
No.
we know anything on Radio Road intersection as to when we're gonna have something paved? Or fixed or something?
Yes,
Because
you talk about, yes.
They're talking about, how it's potholing.
It
We
is.
go put gravel in it and 2 days later it's.
I'm glad you said that. And what we're trying to do is to be honest with you, and Jeff called me, and what I'm trying to do is maintain it as minimal as we have to.
Right. We don't want to
In
put a lot
order,
in
but
it,
to
no
make
one-
it safe, and I've been called by Ms. Wild, and I really appreciate her call. It's a bus route, and we've been trying to do it, and like you said, we've been out there. Matt, we currently dusting, we have 2 things coming up with zoning that's already zoned there, that we've already zoned in that area, but they're purchasing the property. Is that correct? Yeah, one more Zoom, but there's one currently in the hold they're waiting to close on. And then,
I have to drive in the other lane to get around those poles every day.
you're talking about Radio Road from 66 going north?
Yes.
Okay, well, what I was gonna tell you is, so, the initial job is about ready to start. and we can start that. To be honest with you, we've kind of held off to get these other projects because we've explained to those people, if you build there, you have to complete the road and the water line. You get what I'm saying?
Partner up with us.
They're gonna partner up with us. So we're gonna probably extend that or put it out to bid depending on what the price would be at that point in time.
Okay, so can we do
So-
even more than we are now?
We are,
Upkeeping it.
we are requiring them to do more. It has to be done, whatever they do
Tell
currently.
us.
So they're gonna build the road for us all the way out. Does that make sense? As that land gets sold. Is that right, Matt? And we've told every developer that they have to do that to complete that.
Well, there needs more gravel or tar or something.
Well, they're gonna put, I mean, it's gonna be a concrete intersection, it's gonna be asphalt, be, sub-base modification. It's totally spec. Is that right?
Will you just make sure the city stays on top of that?
We are, and I appreciate that. Only reason why the delay is because other development out there. Is that right? Would you nod your head more, or yes or no? Am I right or wrong?
I think it's getting worse.
You're just sitting there, you're not helping me at all. You're either gonna help me or get on the ship or get off. Is that right, man? Okay, all right.
Thank you, that's it.
Thanks, all right. I don't have anything. I'm just happy Matt's here. Thanks for the help, Matt. Had a rough day today. Sandy, you know, they're not helping me at all. I mean, barely nodding. Is that right? Well, yeah. All right. Anything else? Dan, you got anything? No. Okay. Thank you, Dan. Motion for adjournment?
Motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.